Well, get yourself a concealed carry permit and get yourself a cowboy hat and some shit kickers and maybe you post up on your porch and have that shotgun just nestled between your legs and just kind of go like this. And you say, boy, get off my property, boy. Calm the fuck down, people.
Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. And what he do? And he's gonna react to all the self-snitching.
Hi, this is Bruce Rivers. Welcome to another fun-filled episode of Criminal Lawyer Reacts. I am Bruce Rivers. You're how lucky are you to have a board-certified criminal defense lawyer at your disposal? And I'm so grateful to be able to be your very own personal board-certified criminal defense lawyer, coming to you with my pearl handle pistol cufflinks so graciously given to me by our former content genius that you knew and I knew as Michael Rivers. Today we're reacting to a little bit of news on the Karmelo Anthony case. I cannot believe the amount of whiteness that's coming through the comments. And we're going to talk about that, you white people, you. But before we get to Karmelo Anthony and what's going on there, this is brought to you by AskALawyer.com. I'm a lawyer, and if you need a lawyer that's not as expensive as me, you go to AskALawyer.com. For example, if you have an issue with your landlord, or if you have an issue with a spouse, do I need a divorce? I need to hide some assets. How do I do that? You don't do that, okay, first of all. But call AskALawyer.com. If you have an initial question or you have an issue you're trying to wrestle with and you need to talk to a lawyer, go to AskALawyer.com, and they have lawyers on standby, real, live human bodies that are lawyers. And, my grandma uses it all the time because she's in the basement with her. And you know what? I've let her have some people down there. And I don't know what she's doing down there. It seems a little sketch. Grandma's got knives and some other shit going on. I don't exactly know what she's doing because I try not to go down there. I wash her sheets about every 3 to 4 months, if that. But I do know that she's access to AskALawyer.com. I don't know what she's inquiring about because it's privileged. When you call a lawyer and you have a question for that lawyer, even if it's a criminal question, unless you're planning a crime, maybe she's doing that. That would not be privileged. But you go to AskALawyer.com, $49, and you can ask a lawyer anything you want. And it's privileged because you're seeking advice of a lawyer. And or you can use their AI component and do a little of your own research, and they have all the states and federal laws under their training. So we are reacting to Karmelo Anthony. Now, if you remember, Karmelo Anthony was at a track meet. And it started to rain. He wanted to be under the opposing team or another team's tent. Now, my daughter was in track, and she was fast. She did long distance, but I think she should have sprinted because she was really fast. And, teams have their areas, right? And it is odd if you're under another team's tent. However, why wouldn't you let somebody under your tent if it's raining, honestly? And they're in the stands and it's raining or if it's under the sun. I would say, yeah, you want to sit over here? Why not? People say, don't let anybody sit under your tent. You put your hands on them, you throw them out of the stands. Give me a fucking break. At the same time, and I pose questions. And, we got a really hateful comment from some dickhead who is obviously a Trumpster diver. Talking about me being liberal and blah, blah, blah. Well, you know what? Here's the deal. I am liberal. I'm fiscally conservative, but socially liberal. I don't think the government should be in my fucking bedroom. I don't think the government should tell me what to do in my private life at all. And I don't think the government should spend all the money that they're spending. Okay? And I also don't believe in the death penalty. It comes down to whether what he did was reasonable under the circumstances. And it's going to be a question for a jury. Jury will probably convict him. I mean, I don't know that for sure. But anyway, let's get to the news. So the news on Karmelo Anthony is had $1 million bond, but it was reduced down to $250,000. Has he been released? Is that him getting out of jail? So here's Karmelo Anthony getting out of jail. And here's the thing. This is a race case. Get the fuck away from me.
Do you have anything that you'd like to say to the victim? To the family
Why
were you armed?
You know what? He's not going to fucking answer any questions.
Karmelo, why were you armed at school? Explain your self-defense. How is this self-defense?
Excuse me.
Anything you like to say?
You know, I had this one case, and, you know, I had my file with me like this, and all of a sudden the reporter gets in the elevator with us, and the guy with his camera was right in our, so I just went like this to the guy's camera. You know, I mean, the press can be really fucking irritating. He's not going to answer you any questions. He's a young man. You know, I don't know if he's is he 18? So he's 17, so he's a juvenile. And if he's a juvenile, it's probably, well, if he's got bail, he's probably being charged as an adult, is my guess.
Do you have anything that you'd like to say to the victim? To the family of the victim?
No. Leave me the fuck alone.
Why were you armed, sweetheart?
Sweetheart?
Karmelo, why were you armed at school? Explain your self-defense. How is this self-defense?
Excuse me.
Anything you like to say?
You want to say to the community that's donated?
All right, so that's that. So let's listen to what the prosecutor had to say. And, you know, I've never met a district attorney or chief prosecutor that doesn't like a camera.
Good morning, everybody. There's not much I can say, but the judge. All right. All right. Sure. All right. There's not much I can say. The judge has made the call, and so what's important is what's next. Frisco PD will be finishing up their investigation. They will submit the case to my office. We will review it and ultimately present it to a grand jury. And so that's what's next. That's really much. Pretty much all I can say right now. We do our speaking in, as far as the facts go in the courtroom. Many of you were in there, so you understand what was said. But this is a terrible tragedy for our entire, not just Frisco, but Collin County community. One family has suffered a permanent loss. It's the most unnatural thing for a parent to lose their child. It's permanent. It's profound.
So a district attorney's office is an elected position. So he's out there kind of giving the news, and it's what they do.
Premature, and it's the hardest thing that I think a human being can go through is to lose their child. The Anthony family has had a different kind of loss, but a loss nonetheless. But the judge has made her call, and we look forward to continuing the process and looking forward to reviewing all the facts of the case that Frisco PD is coming up with and present it to a grand jury. What we're concerned about as prosecutors is justice, truth, and accountability.
No matter the defense or the plaintiff wins, justice is served even when somebody's acquitted.
And so we will go where the facts lead us. Thank you so much.
Could you speak about the security and the vitriol and just the safety even for the judge and your officer?
Well, this has definitely rocked our entire community.
So one of the things I've seen in the comments is people have really fucking strong opinions about this on both sides. You know, on the black side, I mean, and it is black versus white. There's no question about that. This is a race case, 100% race case. But on the black side, oh, if this was a white guy, blah, blah, blah. And then if you got the other side, oh, you're a liberal, blah, you think, blah. You got two young men going like this. Let's take race out of it for a second. Let's pretend they're both black or they're both white. Let's just pretend that their race isn't part of this. It was unreasonable for both of them to act the way they did. Was it more unreasonable to stab the guy? It depends. It all depends. You can use lethal force if you feel like your life is being threatened. But did you use too much force? You can only use that force with which is reasonable and what is reasonable to a reasonable person. Like if you have a fist fight with somebody, you can't shoot them unless you're almost unconscious and you're about to die. I mean, it has to be reasonable. If your life is in jeopardy, you do have the right to take another life. You just do.
And so it has struck a nerve in the community, and it's hard for everybody to be level-headed at a time like this. So that's where we come in.
That's a good comment. It's hard for everybody to be level-headed. Everybody's got to take a fucking step back and let the process go through. If you look at the statement that of the father of the victim of the case, he was measured. He was measured and said, we need to calm down, and he says, if anybody had a right to be really fucking pissed off, he did. And what did he do? Do you remember that shooting? I think it was in South Carolina, where that dumb fucking asshole went in and shot, like 5 or 6 people or however many people he killed. And what was the church's response? We forgive him. We have grace. How fucking strong do you have to be to do that? And so and you remember we did another reaction at one time. This guy killed his son. I don't think it was an intentional killing. And the guy was up on the stand, doing his allocution. And he says, would you mind if I gave him a hug, Judge? And the victim's father came and gave the boy a hug. That's where we need to be. So, and apparently the Metcalf family has been swatted. I don't care what side of this case you're on. Don't do stupid shit. Why would you do that? What did the father do to anybody except for suffer a loss? This is about self-defense or not self-defense. That's what this case is about. But it has really struck a nerve, as this prosecutor is saying.
And it's our job to be level-headed, to be fact-based, and to follow the truth wherever it leads. Thank you so much. And what is
So according to Chris V, whoever the fuck Chris V is, he's got a Make America Great Again hat, specifically for being black and having your case handled by a black judge. It's an open racket, and I don't think they care who notices anymore. They're openly pissing in the face of justice for racial solidarity. What does that fucking mean? What does that mean? Do we really want to do this? Let's fucking A. So let's talk about the reduction of his bond. You got a 17-year-old kid, probably with no record, and he doesn't sound like he was the instigator in this case. According to Jamal Green, come on, let's be serious. George Zimmerman, Kyle Rittenhouse, all got off, and they are truly premeditated murder. Fucking A. The purpose of bond is not to punish, but to examine if he's a flight risk. He's a child with no background. Obviously, any judge would see him as a person who will come to court because his parents will make sure of it. Here's the thing. Bond has 2 purposes. 1, to make sure you come back to court. And then number 2, so risk of flight. And number 2 is to make sure to protect the public. And this sounds like a very isolated incident and not a standing issue. So there are comments on Anthony Karmelo's fundraiser. Blacks call for white Americans to die. Mad like we're not fucking. What the fuck? I'm not gonna put Nick Fuentes on my fucking channel. Jesus Christ! So this is really getting out of control. We've got all kinds of people saying racist shit on both sides, and it's like, come on already. They did a fundraiser. And they're selling T-shirts, evidently. Justice for Karmelo Anthony. # Really sweet there. And then I think the dad has got some comments. Let's just see what they have to say. This is Austin Metcalf's father.
It's very unfortunate that this other child decided to make a bad choice that's going to affect him for the rest of his life. I have compassion for every human being. I want to make this very clear. This is not a race issue. This is not a black and white issue. I don't want someone stepping up on a soapbox trying to politicize this. I don't appreciate some of the remarks I've seen online that people say there was this fight and they don't know.
There are so many bad comments on both sides, and everybody needs to just take a step back. I do agree with what this father is saying. It really shouldn't be a black and white issue, but it is. But it shouldn't be. It's an issue of whether Karmelo used too much force.
Weren't there.
The father being at this press conference. These are my words. Don't quote anybody. Is a disrespect to the dignity of his son. Next Generation Action Network from the beginning has respected the loss of life, no matter our opinion of it, we have kept our opinion close. We have not attacked. We have not shared the information that was shared with us about Austin Metcalf, because we respect the dignity of life.
So on the one hand, we have the father speaking out, and I liked what the father had to say. And on the other hand, we have Dominic Alexander, who is president of a civil rights group. I like what he had to say. He didn't say anything about the young man that was killed, except for that he respects the dignity of life. And that's where this should be. So let's look at the press conference. So evidently Austin Metcalf's father was at the press conference for Karmelo and was asked to leave. Why did they ask him to leave? Why did he have to leave? So they asked Austin Metcalf's father to leave a press conference, and his mere presence, they were saying, was intimidation. But I don't see that. And now we have Dominic Alexander attacking the father after he just made a nice statement.
And all I'm going to say, so it don't be asked later, is that was disrespectful and just shows you all the character who was not invited. He knows that it's inappropriate to be near this family, but he did it. And so I say to people, actions speak louder than words. Okay? What he has failed into is the political operatives.
All right, guys like this. Now he's blowing this up. I liked what he had to say at first, but now I don't like what he has to say. Dad can go where the fuck he wants. And he actually, Karmelo Anthony's father and this father shouldn't have anything against each other. They just shouldn't. They're both losing sons. So apparently the next day, Jeff Metcalf, the father of the victim, Austin, was targeted by a swatting call. He wasn't home, but let's just see what this clip is.
Kind of breaking news and an update on the deadly stabbing in Frisco. Frisco police just confirmed a swatting call was made tonight to an address belonging to the victim's father. Now that's a prank call designed to bring a lot of police to a scene. Tonight, Jeff Metcalf confirms to WFAA he wasn't home when it happened, but he did arrive about 5 minutes later. Now, this is new information, and right now we're working to learn more details. But earlier today, everything stopped and hit.
You know how dangerous it is to do somebody? You know, we did that scooter video, and they swatted him, and guess what? He lost his life because of it. It's called manslaughter when that happens. Because you're trying to make something happen, and you might not intend to cause his death, but if something does happen, you're deliberately disregarding the risk.
Heads turned when Metcalf showed up to a news conference called by the suspect's family. Tonight, Matt Howerton has a desperate plea from Karmelo Anthony's mother.
They came to speak for the accused. Jeff Metcalf came for his son. The father of Austin Metcalf surprised cameras at a press conference in Dallas Thursday, waiting for the mother of Karmelo Anthony to speak for the first time. Anthony, 17, now charged with murder, out on bond after telling police he stabbed Metcalf in self-defense. Metcalf's father asked to leave the press conference, and then it began like this.
The father being at this press conference. These are my words. Don't quote anybody. Is a disrespect to the dignity of his son.
So what did he do at the press conference other than just stand there? Nothing. His mere presence is offensive, evidently.
Metcalf telling WFAA he was just there to listen.
I'm not here to create a disturbance. I'm just here to stand by and witness this press conference.
And shook the hands of officers before leaving. Since he was asked to leave the press conference, we asked Metcalf what he thought about those remarks. Thursday night, he told us he's not talking to any media right now.
I like that. I mean, that's measured.
Family has been under attack.
Anthony's mother, Kayla Hayes, did eventually speak.
The claims that were used about the public donation to buy a home or anything else are completely false.
Emotionally denying her family has used any money from a Give, Send, Go fund that's collected over 400.
I love the internet. I love the internet because you can run your fucking mouth and there's no check on it. Like me. There's no check on me, right? But I mean, it's just a hateful place. Why do you think I don't have any social media? Honestly, I'm not on Instagram. I mean, we have an Instagram account and we haven't done anything on that, for quite a while since Michael passed away because I can't even get into it. But I don't have Facebook. I don't have Twitter. I don't have any social media. And why? Because there's so many people who are just assholes, and you can just
$150,000. The internet has suggested otherwise and has flooded Hayes' family.
The internet has suggested otherwise. The internet? No, people on the internet. The internet's not the internet itself. The internet hasn't done shit. People who are using the internet have been assholes.
Family with threats, she says.
My 13-year-old daughter is afraid to sleep in her own bedroom.
At the presser, it was also revealed that Frisco ISD has moved to expel Anthony weeks before he was supposed to graduate. An accusation of murder on school property results in an automatic expulsion.
An accusation of murder? You get expelled for that? Oh, come on. How about just a good stiff warning?
The district's code of conduct. Anthony could appeal, and an advocate suggested that may happen.
Thank you, and God.
That ain't gonna happen. Guess what happens at schools? Schools are kangaroo courts. They do whatever the fuck they want, whenever the fuck they want. You can get kicked out for any or no reason, and there's very little recourse. So, and apparently, Protect White Americans, Justice for Austin Metcalf, peaceful protest, April 19th. Rally in support of Karmelo Anthony. Peacefully rally, showing solidarity for our young black child. Protect white Americans. Do we really need fucking protection from who? Who do white Americans need fucking protection from? Calm the fuck down, people. Let the process go. Make sure that you look at this. These are two young men. Men. Not white men, black men. These are two young men. And one got sideways with the other and the other one stabbed the other one. Take race out of the equation and you got a couple assholes. Was Austin Metcalf an asshole for being heavy-handed and putting his hands on him? Yeah, he was being an asshole. Do you deserve to die for being an asshole? No, you don't. So did Karmelo use too much force? We'll see. It's up to a jury. A white jury in Frisco, Texas. I don't know if it's going to be a white jury or not. But race will definitely play a part in this trial. For sure. But it's all going to come down to the one word. All these cases, every one of these cases, no matter whether it's Diddy or whatever, they usually come down to one word or one simple idea. And this simple idea is the word reasonable. Whether what Karmelo Anthony did was reasonable under the circumstances. We don't have all the facts here. We don't have the police reports. We don't have the witness interviews. We don't have a statement from Karmelo Anthony, except for he took responsibility for this right away. And he said right away, I was acting in self-defense. How many people carry knives with them? Guess what? My daughter, when she was in, and I didn't know this till after the fact, but my daughter, when she was in driver's ed, she went and did a night driving thing, and she met this guy. I dropped her off, and this guy, had his own car, and it was in a parking lot of a nightclub. All right. And so she does her driving lessons. 2 hours later, I'm waiting there, and I pick her up, and we go home. She gets in my car, and she pulls a fucking knife out of her belt. I'm like, what the hell are you doing with that? She says, I don't know this guy. And that's a young lady at like 15, 16 years old. So we're living in a different time. I never thought like that when I was a kid, and I'm old as shit. So I lived in a different time. We fought with our fists. We didn't fight with guns. We didn't have the guns that are all over permeating our society. We didn't have shit like this happening every day. So my advice to you is, if you are white and you think you need some protection, get yourself a concealed carry permit and get yourself a cowboy hat and some shit kickers and maybe you post up on your porch and have that shotgun just nestled between your legs and just kind of go like this. And you say, boy, get off my property, boy. Or better yet, calm the fuck down. You don't need protection. And if you're a black person, be reasonable. If you're a white person, be fucking reasonable. That's it. It's not that fucking hard. Just like I tell all the young black men who are killing each other like nobody's fucking business, stop. So if you're, but you know what? I guarantee you, at the end of the day, this is a fucking loss of 2 lives. This young man is never going to be the same, even if he wins his trial. Even if he wins his trial, guess what? Like Kyle Rittenhouse did. His life will never be the same. And the Metcalf family lost a child. All over nothing. All over fucking nothing. It wasn't like it was revenge for a death, like these rappers killing each other. This was just about sitting under a tent. So my heart goes out to both families, and I want everybody to calm the fuck down and let this play out. So we'll see you next time here on Criminal Lawyer Reacts. I'm Bruce Rivers, your very own personal board-certified criminal defense lawyer. Go to clrbrucerivers.com for all your hats and hoodies and all the other goodies that you need. And we're going to put Michael's stuff up there, and we'll see you next time. Subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, there's something wrong with you. You need to subscribe because we love you, and we want you in the house. And follow us on Facebook, Twitter. Sign up for Patreon. If you're a paid member, you get a free hat. Remember that. So we'll see you next time here on Criminal Lawyer Reacts.
Bruce Rivers just broke down your case. He know all the charges that you about to face. You ain't coming home till 2058. That self-snitching gon' get you put away.